Bună ziua, doamnelor și domnilor! Sunt Rosana Oprea și astăzi vom călători într-o lume în care aproape orice femeie dorește să ajungă, în universul diamantelor. Se află alături de noi designerul Franco Arman, care se află pentru câteva zile în București și astăzi a venit la Manicenal. Welcome, Mr. Arman.
Thank you.
Tell me, when I say diamond, I say luxury. I say the most precious stone in the world. What means this word for you?
Like you say, I say, and many other people say too, diamonds are forever. Diamonds are woman's best friend. Diamond is the hardest creation ever invented in history. It's Mother Nature's best gift to the mankind. When we talk about diamond, the diamond history is really like at least 3,000–4,000 years. It started mostly in India, when first people started to appreciate this sparkling stone, the hardest item, the hardest carbon in the world, which today it's #1 luxury item in any creation you want to represent it.
So, Franco Arman 24 carats has a very long story.
Yes, indeed. Our history goes back approximately 400 years, where in the years 1600, which means the days of the Tsars in Russia, where my family is, actually I'm the 14th of the family from the generation, were in charge of the famous jewelers, and they were in charge of the Tsar's jewelers, where they were bringing all the most expensive items and creating the most beautiful crowns, even the thrones for the kings and the queens, the crowns, the royal rings, every single item you can imagine. I remember one of the historical incidents which happened in 1660, when my forefathers had to represent the Tsar throne, and as a gift of appreciation for what the kingdom itself was helping for the Armenian jewelers in our history and town. And this is a beautiful item today in the Kremlin Museum in Moscow, an authentic throne which every single person visits will admire. It's really something to do with royal family's collection. When you're in charge of this kind of jewelries, and in the past mostly it were the royal families which were having the privilege, unfortunately, to enjoy the jewelries. So, and most common people had hard time to live, and they were surviving with their daily bread. But today it's amazing that how the world changed, especially during the last 100 or 150 years, that every single person who appreciates arts with little bit effort of his savings can buy masterpieces, authentic pieces, and feel like queens or like kings or like a princess enjoying the creation and the art of jewelry.
So, a very nice story behind the name. But tell me, what exactly is inspiring you for the collection? I mean,
of course, every single designer or creator must have a source for to be inspired. In my case, I was like, at age 16, I moved to Paris from Lebanon, although from a heritage of a jewelry family.
So, you were born in
Lebanon, in Byblos.
In Byblos.
Yes, and although, as you remember, my family were in the jewelry business, but not my parents, neither my grandparents. It was a 400 years history, which we lost during the World War I, during the Armenian genocide. We were, completely destroyed as a jewelry empire. And what happened is my grandfather survived at age 7, but unfortunately he became blind, and he moved to Lebanon with all the immigrants which were walking through deserts to come to this country. So he arrived there at age 7, and all he had to do is teach to his children that who we were and what we were and what can we bring back again. So I was his second grandchild, and he had something special with me, that he wanted to train me all the time and teach me the best of the best, and he wanted me really to bring back our history. And to tell you the truth, at age 16, when I moved to Paris, to the capital of fashion and the capital of jewelers, I was living around Place Vendôme, where all the brand names are today. It's the capital of the famous signature collection jewelers. And day by day, the inspiration was growing from the beautiful city of Paris, the architecturing which existed, from the Roman Empire palaces, where in my birthplace I could see it every time, all the day.
So
architecturing most of the time.
Things together
Yes.
makes your creation and your collection unique, apart from the other, let's say, jewelry shops in the world.
Exactly, and one of the other reasons is what we create is one of a kind. It's authentic, it's exclusive. We want that the client has only a piece, a masterpiece, which will be with the client forever. We make the client fall in love with the piece because we ask the help of the client too, because honestly we would like to create a beautiful exclusive piece based on the inspiration of the client with our own taste and their taste combined together to create a sophisticated piece which will make both parties happy.
So how do you choose the clients for your products, for your pieces?
In most cases, since we have always been with the reputation and word of mouth and connections, and we have always worked with royal families, princesses, sheikhs and kings and diplomats, lots of people which really will have first the education about the item they are buying. It's not like walk-in client, they knock the door, they come and we want to buy a ring or we want to buy a watch. What we do is we help them first appreciate what they're buying. We help them understand what they're buying. If they don't have enough education or knowledge of the item, we give them all the details, all the explanations. So sometimes it takes a few days until we finalize the sale.
So you help a lot the client to choose the
Of
piece.
course, of course. We want them not only to buy an item because it's beautiful, we really help them appreciate their investment. Because there's a big difference. When you walk into any famous brand name, you will buy an item. Sometimes you will pay 10 or 20 times or 15 times the cost of the price. Which means, let's say you buy a ring from a brand for 20, 30,000, let's say euros. You walk in next door to another shop and you try to sell it, you will not be able to sell it 1/10 of the price because you're paying for the name, for their building, for their insurances, for their protection, for all their investments and advertisements around the world. You're paying for that. But at the same time, when you're buying any other brand, maybe 50 people have the same item.
Yes.
And it happens a lot in royal families when they have an anniversary party or engagement party or a wedding party. They come together, let's say there are 2,000 to 3,000 people, and 50 or 100 people are wearing the same. So they're tired of it, they don't want it anymore. And for that reason specifically, they choose a designer which will satisfy their haute joaillerie, haute gamme masterpiece, an authentic piece which is specially made for them, for their feeling, for their emotion.
And maybe this is one of the reasons for putting all your jewelry not in a classic boutique. You have museum of jewelry.
Exactly. We don't believe in the concept of having stores around the world. Many people ask us, some of our clients even say, why don't you make a store in all the famous capitals in the world? We believe in the jewelry museums, which means